Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Last day of the month, be Halloween. So I've been looking at this downtrend for the last 10 minutes. We could just pick up some sort of micro downtrend there, in which case there's an overshoot. But I don't know. I have a feeling this looks like a wider channel to me, and we've had a correction. And this thing looks like it may be heading down to a new low. Market has just opened a few seconds ago. So I kind of like that. So, hey, Speedy, how you doing, buddy? But perfect correction. And this is coming down and testing these lows, I think. So that would make sense. Break in the way of a correction. It's quite a big channel down. So let's see if we break these lows. I'm guessing we probably will. So, let's have a little look. We had some news around about an hour ago, which didn't do a great deal. I think there was a bit of a, looked like a bit of a drop. That was probably somewhere around a bit of a spike down, but apart from that, it did nothing really. I got some medium impact news in about 15 minutes. It rarely does anything, but I like to be aware of it because on the odd occasion, it has done lately. So we're a few ticks off this low here. So let's just have a little sneaky peek at that. Okay, there we go. Beautiful. So channel break in the way of a nice correction. Excuse me, there was a failure there. But when it's like this, it's going a bit sideways, so you don't know whether I've got that channel wrong and this is a break and it's going to push higher or it's going to turn down. My gut feeling that this channel was right. I had a look at, he's got it like that, but Thomas Wade had it. Oh, we did have it slightly different. Yeah, he had it a bit tighter, but he's changed it now, so that looks right to me. It's coming off. Not only that, we sort of yesterday we had 2 legs up, 2 legs back, 2 legs up again, and then we had that little gap, which filled more or less straight away. I think we're a tick off it, and then started working down. So correction. Let's see if we get 2 legs down here. We may do, we may not. So I'm going to go for about there. But we had a really nice correction there. Kind of some of these corrections are a little bit more obvious than others. That could have been a channel up. But it's 2 perfect legs anyway. You could see it couldn't get above there. It had another go and then eventually started tipping and down it went. Hey Tony, how you doing, mate? So Halloween, so we got stuff hanging from ceilings in this house. Sweets everywhere, and I've had to try my hardest to keep out of them. I'm on a bit of a health kick at the moment. So is this thing going to continue down? Let me have a look back a few days. I think this is the low of the week, actually. Yeah, we haven't been this low for I'd say a week, over a week possibly. Let me have a look. 10,000 tick chart. It's got to have been a week. Surely we haven't been this low all week. 10,000 tick chart. So no, we haven't. So where are we now? This is Friday. Sorry, this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday. So yeah, I've only got it going back so many days. So now we have got the up and coming elections, which I think starts. I think they're on Tuesday or Wednesday. So this is quite a big couple of legs down this if it does continue down. So these bars are quite small and consistent. So we did something similar yesterday. We had that really strong move up, didn't we? We had this big push down. That thing just took off. Really sort of nice, small, consistent bars, but it's a real strong trend that. It just took off and went up like 35, 36 points before it started eventually sort of flattening out. But that's really strong, that. There was an overshoot, wasn't there? So And this is quite a big drop, so it'd be interesting to see whether this thing now I mean, that has played out. Now, it depends how you draw this. You'd certainly have had a break of this anyway. So I'm not necessarily looking for a short here. Not that it can't go down as slightly wide. In fact, it actually could go down slightly wider if it wanted to or something like that. But I'm just going to be a little bit cautious here. 10,000 tick chart is showing a channel down with a break and new low. So that's quite clear. Break and new low. So this thing now could work up, but could do a lot of things. Second entry short, risky in my opinion. Bars NAF might work, might not, but it could push up. I'm still not jumping in here yet and assuming it's pushing up. Yes, we've lightly trapped a bar, but it doesn't mean it's going to continue up. It could just take that stop up and then turn down. So I'm just going to sit tight at the moment. We got a little, see what I mean? So it could go up or could come down. Depends how you got that. See, let me get rid of them. You could argue that there may be a small overshoot there. Depends how you got this channel. So trapped a few shorts there, took out their stop, but it doesn't seem in a massive rush to get up. So let's have a look at this. There's a failure there, but it's a doji. Doesn't look very strong to me, so this could still come down yet. So I'm just sitting on the fence here. You're probably going to get a few shorts stuck there, but it's not the best bearish looking bar considering it's over there. So if that was more bearish, I may have had a go at that, but it's at the top of the channel there. So if it had been around about here, I may have had a go. Trouble is, sometimes these, you get in here, touches the top, comes down, drops below, stops you out, and then continues on up. So this to me looks like it's on its way up now. So channel, break, nice correction, leg down, possibly a little overshoot or something like that. Depends how you got that. So I'm just looking to put it as an overshoot. There's two legs up, so it still could come down yet. There's always a possibility that there's something else brewing here. It could do, doubtful at the moment, but I tend to not assume anything nowadays. So leg in a leg, this may trap some. So if we can get a second entry short, I'm just not assuming anything. Second entry short. If this is going to push up, continue on up, I'd like to see a little bit more of a wider channel. Couple of legs. Channel with a break. Another leg down here, new low. Trapping some shorts. I mean, it really could still come down, couldn't it? It could move from here. That would fit. Something like that, possibly. Let's see if we trap some shorts here. So, channel break, new low. Let's see where this goes. Second entry long. Very tempting, that. Very tempting.
Order submitted.
How big is it? It's quite big, isn't it? Wow, that's bloody huge. Could still get another leg, so I'm just sitting here and waiting for a higher low. I mean, it's in a nice position, but it is big. We could have a leg and a leg. It's always a possibility. NQ is tanking, is it really? Okay, so if the NQ is coming down quite quick, mind you, the NQ could just turn. I mean, this doesn't look too bad. It is a second entry long. Will it work? Probably, but it's 14 ticks, and we could have another leg. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. I'd rather have confirmation with a higher low. Come on, if we trigger that, I mean, that 10,000 tick chart is heading towards that EMA, so it's not there yet. So I'd like to see this come down and give us a second entry long and a higher low. Considering that's such a strong bar, it doesn't seem to be moving up in a hurry. Could get a leg and a leg, see. That's one thing that concerns me about these. I mean, it is a channel with a break and a new low and a strong push up. But if we get two legs, kiss goodbye to that. It's a bit of support along there as well. Let's see. It may hold. It's quite a strong bar, so it may come down, but it may hold. If it's strong enough, it will. That is probably a better option. My only slight concern about that is if it is ranging, it could trigger that and come down a little bit lower. So I'd like this to come a bit further down. I'm glad that didn't turn out nice. Let's have a look. So if it does play out measured leg, it'll push through there. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. So I would have liked, if it get two nice legs, that may hold. If it can get two nice legs, I'd rather it drop below here and then sit on here. In which case, that would make sense, big channel back. If we're going to get up here, we need a wider channel, really, don't we? So, leg and a leg. We're getting close now. Okay, let's see how this finishes. I'd have preferred it to come a little bit lower, but I'm not too fussed if it doesn't come right down. Oh, you're on about wider downtrend? We certainly could, yeah. I have had a look at it. I've had a look at it from here. It would have broken from here. It just, I don't know, it's just something about it not fitting very well, really. So let's see what happens. There's two legs down, bullish bar, well, semi-bullish. Still not right for me. It still doesn't look right. And there's a failure there. That bar there, that bullish bar there is still holding. Let's see if it does. sometimes it will, it hasn't. It's just dropped below there. So I'd only have a go at that if we get a higher low. Wow, look at that. So that
Order
from all them
cancelled.
stops. I dare say there'll be stops a bit further down. That shot straight through. So so as that trapped and pushed straight down, I tried from here and it didn't fit. You could do it straight from here. It doesn't look terrible, but it may just be a little bit early. As we've made a new low, couple of legs up, couple of legs down, we may just come and test this and push up. I'm willing to short, but staying out of that news. Yeah, see, up until recently, medium impact news has never done anything, but you remember about a month or so ago, we had a massive quick push up, 15 or 18 point bar, really quick. Might have been even more than that, and it was the medium impact news. And a week later, it did it, not quite as, I don't know if you remember that. So it just, yeah, it's, they don't tend to do a lot, as we know, but you never quite know when they're going to decide to. So I think the best thing to do is probably sit tight. I mean, there is a failure there, but until this is more sort of confirmed for me, I'm just kind of sitting tight because it could just come down and retest this before it goes up. But it is start looking more and more likely it's going to continue down. So if it does, I mean, we're already at the week's low at least. May have even been a bit more than that. But you could see we trapped them longs, didn't we, on that second entry short. I avoid them. It just doesn't, something's just not about it. Just, yeah, I mean, it may work and rock it up, but I don't know. It's just something about that I don't like, especially as we've had a break. Usually I like to see another leg. If we have two legs and the second leg we have a break, I might have a go at that, but I think sometimes you're safer just waiting for the higher low. If you get a higher low, then there's a good chance it might be something wider going up, but you do get better at spotting them and just thinking something doesn't seem right. So I like the fact that I've got that capability now. That's something, I still have that feeling which I trust. So this is increasingly looking like we're continuing down now. Sorry about that. So, leg and a leg. Just wondering whether there is a larger channel there that's had a break and a new low. Maybe not. I'm not sure, actually. Let's just concentrate on this bit. This is working nice anyway. A couple of touches here. If this gets down a bit lower, it'll look better. Then further back. I tried it a bit ago up to here. Maybe it is now. If this keeps coming down below here, let's have a look. Be interested to see how far this goes down. So touch. That doesn't look too bad. The only bit that the only reason I started from there is because of this. But this kind of, it's slipping along there quite nicely, so it could certainly come down a bit more, couldn't it? Mind you, even if we just start from here, that's still fitting, isn't it? If it goes below there, then I'll extend this, but that to me is doing what we hope it's going to do at the bottom of there. So, excuse me about that. Possibly something bigger with an extended bottom, but at the moment, and I'll wait and see if this drops down any further. So it is slow in here at the moment, but it could still just come through. If it does, then I may bring this into play, because that kind of sits at a nice bottom, doesn't it? So channel with a small break, possibly. Well, we got a break here anyway, so there's a break and a new low there anyway, whichever way you look at it. So if this doesn't get any lower, I'll keep it where it is. If it does, then I'll think about extending it. So if you went from here, 2 legs down and a push up, and forgot yesterday's, we're at a measured move there. So if you take this as a channel, from there, 2 pushes down and a pull back and a move down from there, we're actually at a measured move now. So I just noticed it was going a bit sideways there, so it depends how you've got this. I took mine from there, but if you forget yesterday's, and we have 2, when it opened, we had that 2 pushes down, 2 pushes up, a little couple of legs up, and that's when it started to come down. So if you take your measured leg from there to there, and then after that correction, that takes us down to here. So either or, I don't think it matters. So it's definitely holding there, which is encouraging. So channel, whether we got a break there and a new low or a break there and a new low, we tend to be flattening out there. So, I mean, if it is a channel and we're at the bottom, you know, you naturally think it's going to start to move up. But there is a measured leg there and also a measured leg from here. So, you know, you'd certainly think, but at least start to pull back a little bit. We shoot on the NQ. Yeah, do you know, I've used the NQ on and off. I probably had it as a second chart for about 6 months, and I used to use it as like an anchor chart because they kind of work sort of in conjunction with each other. So what I used to do was, if I was going to take a trade, well, I think it was more from more of a direction. If I was looking at a second entry short, but the direction might not be as clear on the ES, it may have been on the NQ. And I used it for about 6 months, and I decided in the end it was keeping me out of some good trades. If I was seeing a second entry short and it was looking quite bearish, but it wasn't looking like that on the NQ, I'd miss some trades. So I kind of weighed and measured it and decided it wasn't really doing me any favours. So... because I know sometimes if it wasn't looking that bearish, the NQ, but the ES was, and I let a trade, let a second entry short go, and it continued down, then a lot of times then the NQ would follow. So I kind of just sort of left it alone. I chatted with a few other people what they thought about it, and I think the general consensus was it doesn't necessarily do you any favours. Certainly nice to see where all these are going. But whether it helps yet with price action, not, it's hard to say. I know Mac doesn't use it. He doesn't even really pay attention to what happened yesterday or the rest of the week, really, I don't think. He's probably aware of it, of course, because, you know, he looks at the daily, but obviously the daily is, you know, it's irrelevant to a degree. Because we could have a drop and a push up and a nice bullish bar, and even a half a bar movement on a daily can mean the difference between this and this. So as we're only sort of going for small movements. Now, I will say I go for 3 points, as you know. Mac only goes for a point. So there are a lot of trades that he probably takes that I'm, you know, sort of may avoid. He's more concerned about, can he get his scalp? I go for a little bit more. So the odd trade that he'll probably take, I may avoid, but I noticed yesterday, Mark, that trade I took, the triple test, but never mentioned it. He just skipped straight to the next one, which was a bit odd. I had to rewind it, and just because it was the first trade, it was a nice triple test. He had it marked as a red arrow, and then we had the other two legs up, and he had another red arrow there, and then, you know, he completely skipped that one for some reason. Whether it was because it was the open or not, I don't know, but it's unusual. But I had to rewind it to see if I thought I might have missed. That's interesting. We get right up here and look what happens. Massive push down. So I would say you can't argue with that. So I can adjust that slightly till it fits near perfect, I think. So I like that channel as it is. Unfortunately, 23 ticks down. The move's already gone. I like how it's fit in there nice. I like how it's bounced right there. I don't think we need to come down here at the moment, because if we come down here, it may be working at the middle line, but at the moment, as it's fitting nice here, this seems to be the bottom of the channel. We bounced, we came down, had a little bounce, came back, had a second bounce, pushed up. We did exactly the same. We came down, had a little pullback, had a bunch of bounces and pushed straight up. So for me, this channel is, I tend to like it on its own, I think, rather than adding this. If it does start to break below here, I may consider bringing it down, but the fell second entry short. That one there. Yeah, even if I was going to take that, that would have gone too far for me personally. I prefer that back here. I've not got the balls to take them. Sometimes see it can trigger you, have a little break. But the fact that it's hit that bar a tick and then dropped strongly. Having said that, we've got a channel up there with a break. So let's see what happens here. I will be surprised if it came back above there There could be a second entry short here if we break above there. See, let me have a look. What is going on here? Oh, this is the daily. Why is something frozen here? Something's not working here. Get no movement there. Is this working? Oh, now it's flicked onto the daily. What? Right, okay. Let's get this out of the way. Fry me head now. Okay, leg and a leg. See if we get a failure here. If we can get a second entry long here, we may get a failure. I'm just going to open
Order
the order just in
submitted.
case. So we got a leg down. If we can get a second entry short here, I'll have a go at that. I don't think it's going to, though. After that, a little bit of a pullback. It's likely just going to go down, I think. We can only hope. I mean, that's pretty obvious. It's bounced there, so I'd say there's a good chance we're going to get two legs down. It may not even come back. I can't see why it's worth buying that to try and push it up, especially after that big drop, unfortunately. Sam, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. If that move's obvious, it's coming down. You can clearly see that's a pretty obvious move. They may not even bother to try and buy that to get it back or whatever. My 15-minute analysis came true. Did it? Did you send me it? Did you not? I haven't had a ping yet. Oh, yesterday. Yeah. Got you. Oh, I picked myself a nice bottle of 10-year-old Lafroig up from the supermarket earlier to have tonight. Okay. Now, there is a second entry long there. But there's something about this I'm not a fan of. Again, a leg. It's a leg and a leg. It's a little bit congested here, so this is making me a bit nervous. Although it is quite a small risk, it's just not back to the EMA enough for me. So, no, I'm leaving this alone. This looks a bit risky to me. It's a bit congested and a bit wicky. So I'm sitting tight here. So it's now triggered that. I don't like this. This is risky. So I'll just be a bit careful here. It is a failure, but it's very stemmy. It's wicky and a bit doji, so it could come down or it could turn and stop you out and have a second entry long up here. So I'm just staying out of this. I don't like these dojis. Let's get rid of that. It's a bit congested here. I don't like the way this is bouncing around a bit. I think you'd have got 2 points out of it. But I don't like that. It's definitely congested there, so it makes it a little bit more dangerous. So you'd have certainly got 2 1/4 out of that. I just don't like this. Yeah, I saw it. Oh, some. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's a little bit congested there, which makes that trade, in my opinion, a bit more risky. So I'm pleased I left it, even though you'd have got 2 1/4 points off it. I just don't like it at the moment. This may be a spike in a channel. Let's have a look. I don't like this. Let's just get rid of this.
Order canceled.
There. It's there's a little bit of volatility there. It's flickering around a bit. Yeah, someone else said here, same. I was going to far too many doges. Aggressive doges. Yeah, I don't think anybody took it. The fact that it works a bit irrelevant, but this is a danger area. It could really easily break above this. Couple of pushes up, retesting this. Second entry short here. My only slight concern here is we're nicely at the bottom here. Nicely at the bottom here. We're struggling to get down here, so we're obviously having a break, which is what we needed. So maybe a second entry short here somewhere. Let's have a look.
Order submitted.
So I'd like to see that stopped out. First entry. Come on, push up. Up. Come on. That's struggling, isn't it? Come on, get up. Yeah, the trouble is sometimes when you get these little things, it kind of sucks you in, doesn't it? And all of a sudden, up it goes, and then down it comes. Yeah, I suppose you could argue, couldn't you? Up, down, up. It just worries me that's that far from the amount. I know it's touched it and come back down, but trouble is sometimes if it's a strong enough market, it doesn't really matter, does it? But you kind of never know that at the time. I was hoping we may get a leg and a leg, break above that, hit this somewhere, or maybe tail this and then give us a nice bearish bar then to continue. This may be it. Mind you, it's done this, isn't it, 4 or 5 times now. It gets so far up, you think, here we go, and then it starts to come down again. A minute you think, right, this is it now, it's going to break, and every time it's still getting lower and lower, and well, the move's gone now, unfortunately, isn't it? New low.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, it's flicking around a bit. Mind you, I don't mind this. At least there's volume coming through. It has been very slow and sedentary lately, so I actually don't mind this. At least it's getting on with it, isn't it? Rather than really going slowly. It's looking a nice channel, that is now. Unfortunately, it often does that sometimes, doesn't it? It'll just go up and up and up and up and just drop, and it's kind of happened, doesn't it? And then you don't get a second entry, or a lower high rather. I was hoping we get a second entry shortly, but then it comes down inches down, doesn't it? And it doesn't really give you anything. You could have took that. It was a bit more aggressive. I wouldn't personally, because there's 4 bars stacked side by side. And you just don't know. Why does that do that? You just don't know whether it's going to trigger it and push up. You know, there's all this vacant area which it could come up to. We couldn't get down here really, could we, in this first push? So it could make another attempt to get up here. So that for me was just a bit more than I really wanted to do. But sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. It makes its own mind up anyway. But if it's strong enough, sometimes it just won't pull back enough. Same with that thing. It couldn't get back up very far. I mean, you can clearly see what's happening there. It's clearly coming down, isn't it? So sometimes it doesn't get back up to have a decent pullback to let you in. It just starts to go. So this is having a fair old drop, actually, to be honest with you. From yesterday's highs, why does this do that? It doesn't do it the first time. From yesterday's highs, I mean, we're down 120 points. That's a fair old drop, that. Certainly clearing all these lows. When was the last time we came down here? Let me have a look. Let's have a look on the daily. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is the lowest it's been for 17 days. It's having a real good push down, so let's have a little look. So you're thinking a couple of legs. Well, if it's having 2 legs, it can't come down much more. But that thing looks like it's on a mission. Mind you, in the grand scheme of things, that was a fair size move. So, but from yesterday, we did that in 1 day there, and then continued on down. So you never quite know where these things are going, do you? We hit new highs there a few days in a row. There is going to be some, well, there's some support along here, so could go down a bit more. So it could come down another 30 points, possibly a little lower if it decides to take out these lows. It's on a mission at the moment. Come on, let's have a couple of legs up. This thing's coming down nice, so it's a shame to get in. Okay, this might be what we're looking for. So let's
Order
just get an order
submitted.
ready. It's still coming down nice. Couple of legs. The nice looking bar might just be what the doctor ordered. Come on, break above there. It's got to break above there really for me because there's a higher low there. If it breaks above there, comes down. When it breaks there, it gives it a bit more momentum. So I always like to trap along. Leg and a leg. So there's a failed second entry short there, which is triggered. So there's probably going to be some bottom hunters, isn't there, maybe, looking at this. Okay, leg and a leg. Let's see what happens now. Wow, let's just remove that.
Order
I
cancelled.
can't see it coming up that quick, but you never know. Okay, so now, is this just a break? Or are we going to get something a little wider? We could get something wider there. Let's have a look. So push down below the EMA, looking for a lower high if we can get one. Trouble is, when we've had such a big move down here, a small break like that and then a straight drop to the new low just doesn't really happen. So I'm wondering, because we're coming away here, whether we can sort of carefully pull that out a little. I don't think that looks too bad personally. Touch, touch, still fitting. It's bringing that bottom closer. I still can't take anything until it gets below that EMA, just to confirm that really. But that doesn't look too bad to me so far. Obviously, as long as it doesn't get any higher. So, let's see what happens. So I have just adjusted that a little bit, just to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it's got to get below that EMA. Because I've adjusted it, I need some proper confirmation, because it could trigger you here and continue on up. So maybe a channel, maybe an overshoot, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I still like to see. I think I know. You know, they talk about the channel and all that. I always have that safety thing about that EMA. Thomas talks about that. Can't take a trade unless it pushes through that EMA. Trouble is, if you get a lower high here and it triggers you, touches that EMA and pushes up. Because the reason I'm more concerned about that EMA at the moment, because I've adjusted that to try and get it to fit. Now, if it is a break of the channel, I expect it to do a lot more than just break and come straight down. So the only way I will get into a short is if it pushes below that EMA and gives us a lower high, giving us more of an indication we're coming down, just in case. Because if it is a break, I expect maybe a bit more of a leg up here, so I want to avoid shorts unless it pushes through that EMA. See, if you're looking at that and you're thinking about context, maybe channel overshoot, big bearish bar, it's triggered and starting to move back. So the only way I can get short in here is if it pushes strong below there. So break matching high, that's the trouble though here, isn't it? It's hard to... Oh, sod off. Sorry about that. Possible overshoot. Big bearish bar. Yeah, you're going to be a bit careful here. So a little bit sideways with a drop out. I was kind of hoping that may trigger. Okay, let's have a look at this. I could still move that up a fraction. In fact, if I do, it's making the bottom look a bit better. That doesn't actually look terrible. Let's see what happens here. Is that a second entry long? Let's see what happens here. That looks like a hidden second entry long. Let's see whether it gets up. May trap some longs here, but I don't know. It's fact. I'm going to move that down a bit. There's a bearish bar. There's a lower high there. Now that is trapping that long, but there's something about this I don't like. I have moved this channel a couple of things, so I'm not just going to assume this thing's coming down. So I'm a bit unclear about what is going on here. So Thomas Wade's got his channel like that. So that doesn't really make a difference, does it? Let's have a look. There is a break here, I think, which is why I just want to avoid doing something here. So I have adjusted it, but the only way that will interest me in getting back into a short is if it does push strong below the in close, which it clearly hasn't at the moment. So that if it pushed below and gave me a nice bearish bar and then had a little pullback, maybe trap something, and another bearish bar, then that may interest me. But at the moment, trouble is with such a big move down, it's changed over the last few years. This has so many times before we had a break, we'd push straight down and make a new low. But the bigger these channels are, the more we seem to come out and mess around here for 20 minutes before we eventually go down. So still don't want to take anything here. If this is a little break like this, I'll be shocked if this comes just straight down and makes a new low. Let's just put that back and just leave that now as a break. I'll be surprised with a little break like that whether this thing comes down. I think it'll trap some. It may go sideways. We may have another leg up. But I wouldn't want to be in a trade here just at the moment. If it does continue down, I'm guessing there may be a wider channel. See how like it's touched there? Look at that. It's just a bit scary at the moment. It's flickering around, isn't it? And it's just a bit unclear. I don't like these wicks. You think there with that bearish bar there, fortunately it didn't trigger, but if it did, push straight up, stopped you out. You're thinking that you're going to trap some longs here because the overall is down, but that's what I mean. It doesn't often just break like that and start working straight down after such a big move. So I'm just sitting tight here. This is just looks like it can get you in trouble. If it does continue down, I'm guessing we can extend this channel a bit. Perhaps it isn't a break. The reason I extended it before is because I had that there and this seemed to be coming away a little bit. So I could extend it up and maybe incorporate some of this. So I'm guessing, for me personally, the way this is coming straight down, that this is still in this channel, I think. Yeah, I'd say I'm quite pleased with that. It looks okay to me. I'll be surprised after a small break it does that straight away. It's not saying it can't, but it rarely does. Zoom out to a higher time frame. There was a measured leg from the high on the 17th, now on the 23rd. Yeah. I tried to, well, let's have a look. Look on the daily. This thing's, where's the daily again? Oh, it's freezing. It keeps freezing for some reason. Let's see. If that was a break, it really doesn't often just have a break and push straight down to a new low. Usually when we have such a big move down, it'll have a break, maybe in the way of a couple of legs, go a little bit sideways, and eventually work down. It rarely does that, which is why I've extended that channel. So that's the 10,000 tick chart. Touch. We got a touch on the wick there. That to me is still fitting. We push up, we come down, we push it. Well, we only got so far up. We push up, we come down. So, I mean, you could say if you keep that tight, it's had a small break. But the fact that that got to the top and pushed straight down tells me it's more likely a wider channel. Don't think. I mean, it may turn into something like that, but at the moment, I kind of like to keep it tight because I like to see how close it gets to this bottom. Channel break, new low, retest, move up. So I am aware that it may be a break, so I'm not in the market just to jump straight into a short. Okay, so leg up. Let's see if we get another one. See where it goes from there. 80% off finishes tonight as well, midnight. Not sure what they're going to do. Last time they went back up to 50% for a bit. I'm hoping they may extend it due to Halloween. Be nice to get a 90% off, but every time, the last few times we got a 90% off, Rhythmic went AWire, so so what's going on there? Lower high, sitting out of this at the moment, just in case it is a break. It may trap you and go up, so I'm just it's a channel with a break, so I'm just sitting tight here. I'd like to, if we're not getting back down to the bottom, I'd like to get closer to the top rather than just that. So, yeah, so if you took that lower high there, trigger just stopped you out. It's got danger written all over that. It's just a small move up there with a break. I think you have to be aware of possibly that, but my gut feeling is it's more likely as it's literally pushed straight back down like it was in a channel. So for me, I think it's not a break and it's more in just this channel slightly wider. But with that and a break, there's all this vacant area here, and not only that, it's a million miles from that EMA, in my opinion. But it is frustrating. Like, it gives you the lower high, triggers you, stops you out, and then gives you another bearish bar. So it may continue down here. I don't know whether it will or not, but I wouldn't take anything here really. I'd want something up here. I'd like to get up to here and continue down just to confirm that this is likely going to continue down and it is a wider channel. I try and not assume anything nowadays. Well, I'll assume it, but I won't trade based on it. I like to see some confirmation. My gut feeling is telling me that that's probably right, but I would like to see a little bit more, a couple of legs up here and a little bit more confirmation that this thing can still continue down. Ooh. Okay, so there's another lower high there. Let's see if that traps people. That's triggered again. Let's see if that comes up. Don't like all these wicks. There is a failure there, but it's not trapping anything. So if we had a nice second entry long and it triggered and came down, it may be a bit interesting. But it's just I don't like any of this. See, if this is a break and we've had this 2 pushes down to a new low, it could come down and retest this one. It certainly could be bottoming and it may take off. So it's certainly good to be aware that if that is a break, the way this is looking might make sense. So break, 2 pushes down to a new low and another bounce, came back up at another attempt at going lower, and it could absolutely take off. So you've got to be aware of that for definite. But I've just moved it just to see if it does continue on down. Now, I'm not convinced it is at the moment because we only got so far up before it came down again. So this could just be retesting it before it moves off. So you've got to be aware of that, I think. That'll just keep me out of a trade here. I'd like a leg, a break, a new high, and then continue to work back down before I'd consider this ready for a short. Because it could be bottoming it. You know, you'll see this sometimes 1, 2, 3, and then that's where it'll start to move. See how far this gets down, a little double bottom there. See if it gets down to there. And also it's nice after a break to have 2 pushes to a new low. This the first, that the second. Or at least attempt to. Okay, so the low's broken. So if it is a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. Let's see what happens here. Okay, how long have we been going for? I'm going to make a quick cup of tea and take a quick break while it sorts itself out. How long have we been going for? 1 hour and a quarter. I want this to sort of figure out what it wants to do first, because it could take off in that direction. So I'm just going to make a quick cup of tea while it sorts itself out and it's a bit quiet. And I'll be back around about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, it does seem like this thing's continuing down. That's a fair old trend channel, that is. I thought I may come back from a 5-minute break and see it up here. But that looks to me, I mean, it could be a break to push us to a new low, but this to me is looking like it's still working down. So we've certainly had more than 2 legs. No argument there. I think, or have we? Or have we? Ooh, maybe 2 legs down. I'll have to keep an eye on that. So there is a measured move down. It kind of doesn't look like it could be, but obviously this is a lot steeper. So if you go from here, we've had a little bit more than a measured move, actually. If you go from, well, I've gone from here, but if you go from there to there and to there, we're at a measured leg now. Whether it make a difference or not, I don't know. Crazy. Took that long. It took that long. It worked. Did you? In fact, I took a long trade about a month ago, 3-4 weeks ago. Stupid trade. We had a massive channel down there, and we had what looked like a little overshoot, and I took a higher low, and straight away it triggered me and came down, stopped me straight out. For some reason, we still do impulsive things from time to time, don't we? Something just all of a sudden seems like it's worth taking. But I believe that'll happen less and less. The thing is, you only go for a point, really. So half the time, I suppose you close your eyes and you got a 50-50 chance of making a point. Trouble is with Yan, you'll take 2 or 3 trades a day, so you'll get 2 to 3. 2 to 3 points a day. I tend to go for 3 points, but I don't get 3 points a day. So, you can argue whether I'd be better off going for a point. But I don't know. You get used to a certain. I mean, I've been used to doing 2 points for a long time. But because I take less trades, I try and get as much out of them as I can. And the good setups almost always go for at least 3 points comfortably. So I'd kind of rather take less, but I absolutely get that some people would rather take a little bit less and more of them. Looks like we are falling to 57.20s area. Support was there in the first week of October. Yeah, I was looking on the daily earlier. It's been a while since we've been down this area. 17 days, I think I counted. And that's 17 trading days. So, yeah, taking out weekends. Yeah, you're talking about the first week in October. It's been working fine all days except one. I agree in October. Good on you, mate. That's what you want. when this thing is properly coming down. So yeah, it's a fair old drop considering market's only really been open for general trading an hour and a half. So there's definitely support down here, so it may bounce there and have a pullback, or it may push straight through, take out some of this area. So yeah, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's 17 days ago we got that bar. So yeah, this is the lowest it's been really since here. So I'm guessing that it may slow down here if it gets down. We're not far away, actually. We're only about 10 or 12 points away, aren't we? 15 points, maybe. Well, what happened there? Why won't that let me? Yeah, we're somewhere around about 15 points off there, 16 points maybe, something like that, 17 points. So we ain't got far. I mean, it's still a fair old drop on the 2000 tick chart, but it just goes to show us we could come up. I wouldn't be surprised if this came down here. If you're going to take profits, it's going to be around here, isn't it, I suppose? Let me have a look. See, it's a failure, isn't it, there? Trapping a higher low, so it is a failure. So this thing could come down some more. So it is continuing down. So we had 2 pushes down. It's going a bit sideways here. The trouble is, after an overshoot, it's nice to see 2 attempts to a new low, isn't it? A break, 2 pushes down. So this now, it's very easy to think leg up, let's take a short, when this could be bottoming after 2 pushes down. So although we could have still had a break and 2 legs down. So as we know, market likes to move in twos. Break, 2 pushes down to a new low. This could be bottoming. We did the same here, but it's not quite wide enough. And we'd only had 1 push down after that potential break. So I would be careful personally. I'm going to be careful about taking a short here. Now that bar hasn't 2 legs up. That bar hasn't triggered, but there's not much space to the lows. Now this could continue straight down, but I have a little sheet of paper next to my desk that says taking a trade, look left, and that to me has got loads of support. So taking a trade here for me is super risky. Now it's a strong downtrending day. It could just continue down. Now that bar didn't trigger straight away. If it doesn't trigger on the first bar, I don't usually take it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches here after a possible break, 2 pushes down. So that to me, although it is 2 legs up, and in some circumstances it'd be a nice trade to take that, but I'm sitting tight there because I just have a feeling that this is, and not only that, taking a trade this far from the top of the channel, if we are, it's just hard to do really, isn't it? So I won't be surprised if that gets stopped out. You wouldn't have even got a point there, in all fairness. No, you wouldn't. I mean, you've got to push down to there really to get in on there. So I'm just a bit, I don't like what I'm seeing here. Could do anything. There's certainly no room to the lows there, and after that possible break in this very area of support here, taking that trade is super risky. So that's trapped some more shorts in there possibly. Look at this thing now. What's going on? Is this going to rocket up? Stop out anybody there and there? I wouldn't be shocked. There we go. Let's see what happens there. Flipping hell. Let's forget that. I just typed that. It could be bottom in. I don't think it is now. I wasn't expecting that. This looked like to me like we were having some bounces with the possible. Now this could be a failed breakout of this, but I wouldn't take failed breakouts to go long. There isn't any news, all done and dusted. It was 12:30 UK time, which was a couple of 2.5 hours ago, so we got nothing at the moment. This is super bearish. This is. I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't. I thought we'd at least push back up here and maybe confirm this, but that thing's just dropped another. So that daily now, look at this daily. So we're really getting close to this. This thing's tanking. If it gets below there or gets down to this level, be interesting to see. But there's some support there, so I can't see it getting much further. But it may pop below and take out some, sort of clear the bottoms, 2 legs down, and then probably up some more. So, so it's hard to know, really, isn't it? I don't know. This looks to me like a leg and a leg down to support. So, certainly expect it to come down some more, a little bit more, but not much more. When it gets down here, surely we're at least going to have a bounce before we push forward. If we do, I can't see it slicing straight through. It may, but we're at the bottom here now anyway, so you wouldn't want to trade really down here. You want it to get back up here, don't you? But you just never know. Traders are seeing that thing pushing down. I mean, if you're in trades, obviously some traders, as it comes down and pulls back, they may get in, add to it, add contracts to it, and if they are adding to a strong downtrend, it could just continue on down, I suppose. I got 2 trades, I'm done. Yeah, you too, buddy. Is it Thursday or Friday? It's Friday, isn't it? No, it's Thursday. Friday tomorrow. It's all right. You should have a good weekend. I thought, is it Friday? And I missed it. So, yeah, I mean, what is going on here? So for me, wasn't a break. When we have such a big move down, it rarely has a small break like that and just drops. A lot of the time, it'll have a couple of legs up, may go sideways for a bit, fake out at the top, and then, off and down, but it never just does that. Not after such a big move. Little channels do that, little break, new low, and then move up. But the bigger ones don't. So for me, that wasn't a break once it did this, and this thing is continuing down again. So we haven't had a real trend like this for a while, not this big, and this neat. Just that channel down there, 67 points. I mean, that's 60 in itself, isn't it, or near on? 50 or whatever. Trouble is, your natural instinct when it's come down so far is to avoid shorts, isn't it? Because you're thinking it can't go down any lower. And then before you know it, 10 or 20 points later. It just goes to show how bearish it is. It gets up and then just drops. We have a little pull back. I mean, that 2 legs back up worked beautifully. I just couldn't bring myself to take a trade like that. The setup is lovely, but the context for me after the possible breaking 2 legs down, I just couldn't do it. Doesn't mean to say it won't work. And this thing's so bearish, it just seems to be just continuing on down. Okay, so I think that was inevitable, wasn't it? We're at the bottom now. Let's see where this goes. I like the way it's come right to the bottom. That's close enough for me. It'd be nice to get up here, leg and a leg, then a lower high. Second entry short, possibly. It's got to be a lower high for me, really. I can't just get into that. It's just massive. And it's that bearish. I just couldn't bring myself to take that, really. It's so large. The trouble is, the further this comes down, the more nervous I get about taking shorts, because you think at some point we've got to have a break of this. So let's try the 1,000 tick chart. 1,000 or 10,000? You're thinking of the 10,000, aren't you? I think. You're thinking of the 10,000, you must be. So look. Oh no, the 1,000. Okay. So look. It's the 1,000 going on forever. It's going over about 2 screens, this thing. I'm glad I didn't take that. It's just channel like that. I don't know. It's just so damn bearish, this thing. I can't bring myself to take a big bar like that, especially when it's 20, 21, 22 ticks, whatever it is. I do look at the 1,000 from time to time. I know Mac currently is looking at the 12. I think it's the 1,200 or the 1,250. I think. Yeah, I can't take a short here at the moment. Leg break, new high. I mean, this could come up here. That's going to get stopped out for sure, isn't it? Or is it not? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, in all fairness, that's the strongest move up we've had since this thing started. We zigzagged here, but that's just kind of launched up. Possibly a second entry short here. Let's see how it looks. It's on the EMA for me. Trouble is, I've got Mac in my head saying this thing's that bearish, you could more or less jump in wherever you want, but it's easier said than done, that, in my opinion. I mean, there is a failure on the 1,000 tick chart, which looks quite nice. But I don't know, sometimes the further south this thing goes, the harder it is to get into it. Push up, we could have a leg and leg, and then another push up. We've not been back up to the top here yet. Looking on the daily, we're getting very close to that bounce, which I'll be surprised if we don't get. Very close to it. Oh, we're still a ways away yet. I think we're still 8 or 10 points away. There's nothing on this chart anyway, really. You may take that one. It's not for me. Just in case it's 22 ticks or somewhere in those regions. You're risking. I'm not risking $500 on 5 accounts. $2,500 risk. Not for that. Yeah, someone else said second leg up scares me. Yeah, me too. We could have a leg and a leg up to here. No one I can see have taken that one. It's such a big risk, and not only that, it's on that EMA, so you just never quite know. The fact that it works irrelevant, really. Sometimes they just do. But guarantee the second I drop my order in there, the thing will sting me. I mean, that is some channel down, isn't it? We don't often get that. Certainly not that neat. Yeah, we're getting very close to that support now. Oh, it looks close. It's still quite a few points from where it is now. It's still 12. Well, it's 12 points. It's close. Surely it's going to bounce there, you'd think, or at least have a bit of a pullback. But you never know. It could slice straight through. But there's definitely a chunk of support there. It's the biggest bar we've had for a while. Sorry about the barking, guys. Sorry about that barking. Scared the shit out of me, I don't know. You guys. technically a failure, but I don't like this. Second entry short, and anything that really interests me. The fact that it's come right close to the bottom is okay, and we're just not getting up to the top, but we are finding a kind of nice level, which is, you know, kind of there. So it's that bearish, it's just not getting up. So it's, well, look at that. So it's getting very volatile here. I dare say there are people trying to pick bottoms here. Channel down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. Is this a penguin style trade? I wonder. Wonder whether we're going to get something like this. Boom, boom, and then down some more. Oh, look at that. Taylor's just put that on there. He's thinking about the same thing. Possibly sidewards, possible triple test. 1, 2, 3. If I was to take a triple test that, really, I'd really want that EMA a bit closer so we can push through it. EMA flattening, yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it? I suppose if we're going to get back to here, it is going to be a bit, isn't it? Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. It's got to be below the EMA for me on something like this. I couldn't just take it even if it was a triple test. I mean, there is going to be people picking bottoms here, isn't there? I mean, that thing just launched up just that quick bar. So let's have a wee look at this. Okay, it's finished in about the right place, so we'll give it a couple of ticks, the benefit of the doubt. Fits nice so far. Leg and a leg. Not quite as high as I'd have liked to. A little bit higher and then a wick. But we have triggered above that bullish bar, so you could say that's a triple test. At the moment, it's just something about this I'm not massively fond of. There's definitely some strong buy in there. Mind you, there was there, and then all of a sudden it dumped, but something about this I don't like. Especially now. Mind you, that's that measured leg more or less, isn't it? 2 legs up, measured leg, but it is... Is there any way we can extend this? Not really, is there? See, it's if it doesn't get any higher, you could micro adjust that and it wouldn't really affect this too much. But if it is a substantial break, I expect a lot more sideways and messing around before it eventually gets down. Yeah, this is more of a break, I think, isn't it? a lot of strong buy in there, and as soon as it came down here, the buyers kicked in again. So I'm guessing buyers are trying to push this thing up. Okay, that measured move's played out. I have a feeling this thing isn't going to slow down though. Yeah, you never know, mate. You never know. It's showing off now, mate. DVL, DVL, from the NQNS. You'll have to explain to me what they are, mate. IBL. I thought it said DVLA when I first. 4 points. Took that high or low. That one there. It's hard to know what's going on here. Initial balance low for the 60-minute open. You're right. That's the thing, and there's so many different ways to trade this. There's all weird and wonderful ways. I do like the fact that Pat's is very simple. Putting it into to getting it to work, the practical side of it and the theory is very simple. We only don't use any indicators really apart from the EMA. The rest is just trend channels and what's it. But pure price action, it is pretty simple. In theory, obviously you've got to apply it to the right context and it's quite fast moving. But it's not what you would call a complicated strategy. I mean, if you were a chart reader anyway, you'd be able to move over to this, reasonably okay. I would have thought. Volume profile trailers, yeah. I have tried things like, I did look at volume profile at one point. It is good to know where the sort of volume's kicking in. And what's it as well? I had that free for a week. What's it called? Order flow. I've had a look at that, and that's just flipping confusing. I think you need to know how to read that. I don't doubt it's useful, but for me, only scalping for a few points, I don't think it's something I really need. But as a trader anyway, you just take interest at what's out there. I do. I don't know about you, Tony. Do you get that annoying Asian guy that comes on and tells you if you've been trading charts like this, you don't know what you're talking about, you're never going to make it work? I forget his name now, but I see him on. It's part of the reason why I started paying for YouTube, because every flipping day I'd have him popping up half a dozen times a day saying it. He used to trade for Barclays. He said, you can't trade these bar charts, you have to use order flow, you'll never make it work. Anybody who tells you any otherwise is lying. He's an idiot. Telling people you can't trade off bar charts, how can you tell people that? I mean, it's potential strategy that I'd love to get to Daniel's level. 6 ticks. Yeah, he goes for 6 ticks. I wonder if he'll change. Oh, an Asian man was the same wrestler. Oh, was he really? I just think he just comes over a bit arrogant, saying you can't trade off. There are plenty of people trading off, making a lot of money out of bars. It's just a line, isn't it? Just to sort of sell into his product or buy into his product. The other guy I don't find him as bad, but he used to annoy me. The guy, well, he's getting on a bit now, but he's got Simon Cowell teeth and he's always orange. I think he's been on the sunbed. Once you get to a certain age, you get white teeth and get on sunbeds. What's his name? He trades a slightly different style. He doesn't use these standard bars. He uses them lines with, what's his name, Greg Secker. He used to pop on. He used to be a bit annoying, but he's not as bad as that Asian guy. That Asian guy's a bit arrogant, telling someone how they can and can't trade, in my opinion. How do you know? You can't be, yeah, Greg Secker. I know about 6 months ago he started getting an orange tan and got his teeth replaced or whitened, or turkey teeth I call them. Okay, so we've had a break here. Second entry long. Would I take a long here? No. Would I take a short here? No. Because that is a break, as we know, but I'll be surprised if that's all we get and this thing comes straight down. So I'd expect at least to range a little bit, personally, and maybe even get another leg up. So yeah, I mean, you wouldn't take a long there anyway, really, would you? Personally, I wouldn't anyway, but so I'll be surprised if that thing just comes straight down. So leg and a leg, let's see where it goes now. I've had a look. I can't see how we can extend this now. I think we've burnt our bridges, really. I mean, it's fitting that perfectly. If you take it off here, it kills all that lot and wrecks the bottom. So I can't see it personally, so I've got to consider this a break and more likely to act like a break after such a big move down, maybe go a bit sideways. What we're looking like, how far do we get down on the daily? We're not quite off, but we're quite close to that bounce on the daily, so you would naturally think traders would be taking profits, which I suppose, I mean, this is just my opinion, whether it means anything or whether it's a load of crap, I don't know, but just from a gut feeling of when prices get close to that support, personally, I would be thinking about getting out a little bit earlier. Some people wait till literally the last tick, don't they? Which amazes me how these measured legs are so damn accurate. Oh dear, someone's taking a short there. They're about to get stung. Oh, they have done. Yeah, it's too risky that. These, after such a big move down, it ain't going to break and come straight back down. It did there. So my opinion of that is it was still in the channel. So someone's got stung. It's Taylor. I'm really surprised he took that. It's just too risky. Small break like that after such a big move. Mind you, he's got this channel somehow different, but that's a shame. Mind you, it doesn't bother him. He moves on and cracks on. So he's got a good. He's got a good attitude. Hate those YouTubers. Yeah, I know. I have the premium service now. I reckon that's why YouTube do it. They realise you're a trader, so they pick the most annoying one on YouTube and just assign him to you. So every time you open up your YouTube, he just pops up. You know, I don't mind some of them, you know, but you always seem to get sort of bogged down with the annoying one. Taylor, he does, yeah. He does really well at that. I mean, that's ideally, that's the perfect way to handle it. You take a trade, whether it wins or loses, you move on. That's the guy. Yeah, I don't see how you can tell people the way they've been trading for years doesn't work. That's a load of rubbish. I'm not saying if you don't have order flow, it may help you, but it doesn't help everybody, and it doesn't help every different way of trading. If you're scalping a point or two here, it really doesn't make a difference. That other Asian guy, I like listening to him, the guy from Dubai. He's not arrogant, he's nice, friendly, polite, respectful, and he makes a lot of money off these candlesticks. We know Mac does, and plenty of other traders out there. So, yeah, you shouldn't come on and tell people what they're doing is wrong. You can't do that. You start to just annoy people otherwise. Yeah, that's the guy, yeah. He says he's the only, doesn't he say he's the only guy on YouTube that's profitable, and he's got the evidence to show it. Straight away, that just gets you back up, doesn't it? If this is gonna, it's hard to know, isn't it? It just doesn't often just do that. See that one? It's a shame, actually. Triggered it, stopped it out, and then started working down. The thing is that, but if this is a channel, that bar is more or less down to the bottom of a channel anyway, isn't it? It's not far away. Barclays trading job to earn. Yeah, exactly. That's a red flag, isn't it? He does seem to be focusing more on getting people to pay for his system, doesn't he? I think that's a red flag if you start getting people to pay for something. I think if you're a genuine trader making a load of money, see, Mac does, but he charges next to nothing. It's a nominal fee. I feel like I'm robbing him. $120, $125 per year. Mac, to me, and I listened to him talking about this in a video, that he said he's a bit of a churchgoer, isn't he? So he's a he kind of likes to help people, and he did say that if he earned a good living out of this, he wanted to give something back, and I 100% believe him, because he's a lovely guy. He doesn't fill your head full of fancy cars and expensive houses. He just tells you as it is, and if anybody has said how hard this is 1,000 times, it's Mac. So he just enjoys making the videos, and he's quite happy to help. So it just go. You think how many newer traders pay for some of these courses and get stitched up? People are making thousands and thousands off people who think they're getting into something. It's why I mentioned Mac, because if someone's going to get into trading, I'd rather send for someone who I know is a genuine person. What his accent? He's quite a sudden accent, isn't he? I know. I think of Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton when I listen to him. But he's a nice guy, isn't he? He's quite a quiet guy. Just tells you as is. But yeah, I'm always attracted to traders when one of the first things they tell you about is how hard it is and how long time it takes. When I first started to learn to trade, I followed a guy called Andrew Lockwood. And he never spoke about fancy cars and about lots of money. One of the first things I heard come out of his mouth was risk management. And they're the type of people you want to attach yourself to. The realists, the people that say, yes, you can make money, but in reality, it takes a lot of time and you can lose a lot on your way there. Because, when I first started learning to trade, I was constantly looking around YouTube at there's so many people out there showing you pictures of Lamborghinis and, all the life you can have in the fancy villas and all that sort of stuff. And in reality, yes, you can earn that sort of money, but it doesn't come overnight. It takes years, really, to get to that level, if you ever do. I think people think you're automatically gonna be a millionaire as soon as you start doing this, but in reality, very few really do. That's not to say if you don't put 4, 5, or 6 years into this, you can make yourself a really nice living and earn more money than you ever did and work less hours. Absolutely, that's realistic. Yeah, I'm still a bit nervous about this. There is a failure there. There's quite likely going to be some longs there, but at the moment, as I mentioned, whenever we have a break, we rarely just drop straight down. So to assume that was going to work for me, I just couldn't do it. At least we hope so. Yeah, I think there's a massive failure rate in this. They say 90 or 95%. Now, in all honesty, my honest opinion is it's not because they're not capable, it's just because they don't give it enough time. Now, those of us who've been trading a year or two and, you know, we chat every day, we know how hard it is. But you can understand a lot of people will give it a go and think, sod that. I can't do that, it's too hard. Or they start to lose money and they think there's bound to be. There's bound to be. And I think that's why there's such a big failure rate, because people, you know, if you've got to work hard for 4, 5 or 6 years to earn a decent living, not many people are going to put up with losing money until they get to that level. They're going to give up. But I've always had that same opinion. If you want something bad enough and you're willing to just keep trying and keep learning and keep improving, you'll eventually get there. The only people I'd say may struggle with this, even if they put a lot of time in, is people who have really addictive personalities. Then I think they may struggle. But anybody else, you know, who's got a relatively sensible head and don't mind putting in the hours, I think they'll do all right out of this. Kind of rangy, yeah. That's why I avoided that. It is a bit. The World Series finished yesterday. New York versus World Series. That's baseball, isn't it? Never really. You never really watch baseball in this country. American football. I think that we have some American football teams over here. I know sometimes some of the big teams come over here and play, I think, from time to time, but we've never really taken to baseball. Yeah, after that break, I am surprised if that comes straight down. World Series cricket. Oh, I see what you mean now. I know what you're talking about. I thought you meant baseball. Especially when you said New York versus Los Angeles. I know the US, because I follow cricket. I know the US did quite well in the World Cup, the Cricket World Cup. It was over in the Caribbean. But yeah. But yeah, I watch cricket. That's my sport. The thing about cricket is when you lose slowly, so it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt as much. But I know a lot of US people still don't really realise what cricket is. But I suppose it's getting bigger in the US. Can we extend that a bit? Maybe. But I know the US did pretty well in the World Cup. Mind you, there was quite a lot of sort of Indians and sort of Asian people, and generally they're big on cricket. I know places like India, Pakistan, and places like that are massive cricket fans. So, I mean, the Indian people, I love the Indian people. I think they're great. They're absolute cricket nuts. They don't ram religion down your neck. They always want to feed you. That's what I love. I used to work with some Indian guys, and they used to bring samosas for lunch every day. But yeah, they're nice. They're friendly people, Indian people, but they are absolutely cricket nuts. So, the way this is coming down after that break, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing absolutely took off in that direction. It doesn't often do that, have such a small break, but this is a really big, steep channel down, so maybe it has a couple of legs down. I'm going to make a prediction. I reckon we're going to get something like that. Let's see if we can get anything close to it. But I'll be surprised now if this thing keeps coming down. Having said that, that daily, Still close to a bounce, but that is a big move down, isn't it? And we know there's support here, so I wonder when Mac's going to retire. He spoke about it, hasn't he, over the last couple of years? It'd be a shame, actually. I think he should do a live stream, not necessary to trade, just to chat with people. Because we've never kind of had that open sort of reason to chat. He's put such a lot of hours and years into this. It'd be nice to be able to have a live stream where you could send him nice messages, you know what I mean, and have a chat and thank him and ask him a few questions and what have you. Because he's kind of been part of our lives really for quite a few years, well certainly for me. He's put a lot into trading. It'd be nice to be able to send some nice messages, you know, have a kind of a live chat with him. Maybe even get an interview or something with him. I'm surprised no one's asked it. They may have done. So I have a feeling this thing's going to absolutely launch. Yeah, it is. I mean, that after that break, you don't often see that straight down to attempt a new low. Now, bearing in mind, it may start messing around going sideways before it makes a new low. But after such a big move down, and that daily is getting very close to support, I wouldn't be surprised if we at least had a reasonable size break or pull back or something. Trouble is, that channel fits quite nice, so we've had a break, so ordinarily you'd be thinking short, and it may well go, but I don't think I could bring myself to taking a short. Having said that, if you tighten that, although we came away from here, we've had a touch, and a touch, so we could have already had a break in a new low. So I'm just sitting tight here. I'll be surprised if we don't get some sort of reasonable move up. Yeah, it's gone a bit flat. Bounced off the bottom range. Oh, look at that. We've come up to the EMA and a fair push down. Have you noticed sometimes this thing moves by itself? I wonder if Max designed it like that to kind of force that we've had a break. Thomas is still in his runner from that. He took that trade, Thomas did. He's still in his runner. I just couldn't bring myself to do that, to be honest with you. Because it's also a leg and a leg. You don't know whether it's going to start doing that. But this thing's surprising me no end. Bounce, 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 bounce. Okay, and we already had a break at a new low. Wow, look at this. That's that gone. Is it going to get down below here? So it may make a new low after all quickly. Doesn't often do that. So Thomas Wade's still on that runner. It's a shame he didn't get a straight back there. He's pretty good at holding on to runners, actually. So where's his... He's kept his stop up here, which I'm surprised, because I wouldn't be surprised if that thing comes back. So, I mean, it's gone down 6.5 points. I'll be following these things down, especially when it gets close to these, because you never know when it's going to turn. Are we going to break these lows? I thought for sure we were then when that started coming down. We still may, actually. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this came down and flew up. We've had such a lot of strong buying there, so there's definitely traders trying to pick a bottom and trying to force this thing up. So, be interesting to see if it does. But we are just a little bit off that bottom on the daily for that bounce. So it still may get down a little bit. Be interesting if it gets close to this. Is this thing going to fly? Let's have a look. Oh. Oh. Still a few ticks away, couple of ticks away, I think. Okay, let's drop through that. Now let's see what happens. Thing is, sometimes if you're buying here, your stop might be further down. Sometimes it takes a little bit before it starts to go. But so that had a break and came straight down, which it doesn't often do, especially after such a big move down. It might be shorts covering to leverage the risk before the next move down. It weird. You think when you have such this big move down, it can't go down any further, but that could be a correction. This thing could keep coming down. Trouble is, when it comes down so far, I kind of get more and more nervous about taking a short. You think at some point, as soon as I jump in, the thing's going to turn. So anyway, channel down, break, 1, 2 legs down to a new low. Little double bottom there. Let's see what happens. We're still a little bit off that support. We're not far away now. But surely there's going to be traders taking profits here, you'd think, for sure, wouldn't you? I mean, that's a fair old size move, that is. So 10 points, maybe a little bit less actually. 7.5, 7, just under 8 points. So that's not a lot. Okay, new low, bullish bar. Often that first one triggers and stops out. Break, depending how you have this, break 2 pushes to a new low. So let's put that one there, I think. So break, leg and a leg, bullish bar. Often that gets triggered and stopped out. If we do it that level on the daily, then I expect the launch. Very close now. Okay, another bullish bar. Let's see if this gets triggered and stopped again. So first one triggered, stopped. Second one, see how this gets up. If this comes up and drops down to here, it'll bounce off that support area on the daily. That'll be interesting. So we know that channel's clearly had a break, 2 pushes to a new low. And I'm really surprised it came down that quick after such a strong move. Having said that, there is a possibility now that we could end up having something like this. Maybe not that, but something slightly less dynamic. Maybe not just yet, I don't know. So 2 legs. Okay, so that bullish bar's triggered. Now let's have a look. So leg and a leg. I'm still not looking for a short at the moment because that's played out. So I'd rather give this the benefit of the doubt. So maybe a larger channel down there, but it's only a first entry. You could call it a failure, but for me, yeah, just you got to give this first one a body swerve, I think, because of this break. 2 pushes down to a new low. So possibly something wider, but just for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. Could be, mate. Yeah, could be. Although it's sideways, I'm not convinced it's a range at the moment. We've bounced a couple of times here, but we've only really been up to the top. So it's hard to say at the moment. So break 2 pushes for a new low. I'm avoiding any type of short here at the moment now. Yeah, someone else is thinking the same way. I'm surprised it made a new low so quick. Same here. It really does that. So this to me now could be an absolute launch. Let's have a look. Let's see where this goes. In fact, let's give it some room. Liquidity here quite lightly, and here. Let's see where this gets to. If it comes up here and bounces, then yeah, it may range a bit at the moment, but just at the moment, 2 legs up with a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. Let's see where this goes. Okay, we know there's some support there, so let's see if we get a second entry here. After that, 2 legs down after the break, and expect to come up and retest these areas. Channel with a break. Have to be one hell of a good setup though. I was just checking to see if there was any any other channels down slightly less steep, but I don't think there is. It's just a shame we didn't have a second entry long there. So we got leg and a leg, leg and a leg. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Okay, excuse me a second. I'm just going to take a quick minute bathroom break. Hold on me a second. Okay, it's back. Let's have a look. Is he struggling to get anywhere? Okay, so a little bit sideways, bullish bar off the key entry point. So let's see if that works. I'm not taking it. It's clearly congested, but it is a bullish bar off here nonetheless. In fact, I can take it a bit closer. So let's see if this gives us that second little push. Unfortunately, it's just sideways, but it is off that key entry point, so it may work. If we're ranging, then there's plenty of space up here, isn't there? Certainly for that measured leg, so I don't think it's a terrible trade, but it is congested. If I was trading the valuation, my gut tells me that's probably going to go, but I got to wait for a proper setup. Okay, right to that measured leg. So leg and a leg, that's played out. So this thing's either going to continue on up, or it may come down a little bit more. It might go a bit sideways. We could have a leg and a leg. It still could come down, I suppose. Looking at 10,000 tick charts, could just be a couple of legs back, really. Did you set up the bar size counter just to show the ticks? Mine is showing numbers. I'll show you, mate. So where are we? Bar size counter. Is that all it is it? Let's have a look. Have I got it? Does that show you what you need? I'm not. What's missing? It is right, isn't it? Bar size counter. Format ticks. That's it, I think, isn't it? Shows points, not numbers. It's points. I think that's what you mean, but isn't it? Just shows ticks. Mine is showing 3 numbers, like 3 rows. You're not talking about this, are you, bud? The tick counter and the previous bar. So you did say bar size counter, didn't you? Which is that? Same. Okay, so you sorted, are you, bud? Let me know if you need it up again. It is useful, isn't it? It is useful. Just tells you. If anybody hasn't got that, it's free. That is. I also get rid of the little bid and ask line idea. I get rid of it. It annoys me. You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Yeah, it is useful, isn't it? It just gives you that quick indication. So that did work. Although my gut's telling me it's off the key entry point, it's probably going to push up for a measured leg. It wasn't really a setup. It's not really a triple test. It's not a second entry, so it's just a bit sideways. But the fact that it's sitting right where it should do, I think was a good indicator it was likely to go up. So yeah, that 10,000 tick chart continuing down here. I mean, whether it's a break, it's hard to say, but we've got a leg and a leg and a leg and a leg. Could be just 2 attempts to push higher. It could continue down some more. It's always possible. You never know. That daily, see, there is some more points to sort of hit that support on the daily, so it could come down some more, but I don't know, who knows. I mean, what we do know is we've clearly had a break, 2 pushes down to a new low, and we're pushing up now, so we'll see what happens when we get to this area. Starting to get loads of kids around now. Guess they will be getting some knocks on the door in an hour or so. Interesting. Big bearish bar for top. Still can't take it because at the moment we're still in this channel and it could trigger it. Push it. But channel down, 1 attempt to push higher, 2nd attempt to push higher. So it could still come down some more. Could just be a bit of a correction. As I say, on that 10,000, channel down, 2 attempts to push up. It could be just a penguin style trade, couple of legs up and then down. See what happens. So far so good. It is holding. Whether it will continue to is another matter. What point did I decide to create that wider channel? Which channel are you on about? You're on about the channel we're up here now, are you, or the bigger one? You're on about this current one? Yeah, the current one. Whenever we have a sort of a pullback and a start to bounce, after that and a start to bounce, I usually put one there, just knowing that there's a possibility. And then when it came and bounced here, that kind of confirmed it. So, yeah, so once we pull back and have a bounce, that's when I often just give it a try. Spazzed out on me now. I just kind of like to be ahead of the game, just wondering where it could go. So I'll put it there as a possibility. Sits nice on them 2 bars there, and then when that comes back, so I always like to just have a look. Once it starts to come back, it's always a possibility. Third touch really confirms it. I wouldn't trade it as a wider channel until it confirms it. So if you remember, I messaged that. When I saw that, I thought that was going to go up because it's sitting where it should be. It's kind of confirming it. But unfortunately, there's no real setup. It's just a bit sideways. So, you know, some people may just take it and, you know, a kind of a gut feeling. Gut feeling told me that it's sitting in the right place. It's likely to move. But I tend to not go with me. I use my gut feeling for certain things, but unless it's a setup now, I just leave it. With me, I'm kind of all or nothing. If I don't, you know, if I take something that's not a setup, but my gut tells me, and it fails, I tend to beat myself up. Don't get me wrong, I'll jump all over that on the valuation. because my gut's telling me, but it's still not a setup. So as much as it's tempting to take some of these, you know, I always feel the best form of action is, doesn't matter how good it looks, if it's not a setup or it's not giving you a setup, I always just try and avoid it for my own sanity, because I tend to, that's when I can tend to go on tilt a little bit when I take a gut feeling trade that isn't a setup. So I think you just got to work for you. Now, if you can take losses and it doesn't bother you, there's no reason why you can't have a go at something like that. I mean, it's looking like it's ranging, so you think there's certainly a good chance it's going to get up here, or at least make a measured leg, and you got plenty of space. So it depends on you, really. I'm still a bit of a pussy when it comes to taking losses rather. I still a little bit too uncomfortable with them to go for a riskier trade, if you know what I mean. But that might change in the future. Now this is breaking and holding above here. We may end up moving a bit higher. Let's see if it fails. But if we actually have like a couple of legs, then I'll start to think about, are we getting something wider? If I leave that about there, so far it's fitting nicely. So if we can get a couple of legs, there might be something bigger. But look, just as I put that there, look what's happening. It's clearly, you know, reaching the top of this, it's likely to start coming back. So if we have a couple of legs back here, you know, if this is going to move up, it's going to widen itself, really, I think. Once you've got above this, you're going to be taking profits, aren't you? So makes sense it's going to pull back. So a couple of legs back here, second entry long, I go for a high-low, really. So let's get rid of that for a minute. It's kind of working in as a two-tiers channel as well, isn't it? So let's move that a tiny bit. So, and that failed, didn't it? But just because it got over there above that, for me, that's not why it failed. I'd say because it's hitting the top of what looks like something a bit larger. So, you know, my thought is it's more likely pullbacks because it's sort of covered that. My brain wants to short the top of a range. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Do you know what I found after a while? I used to sort of follow the numbers. If it was a second entry short, I'd take it. If it was a breakout of a range, I'd take it. Now, I kind of think, okay, yeah, it could pull back here. It could be a range. But as we've had a break and two pushes to a new low, it could also move off in that direction. So I like to just look at my options, and the two options I've got, one, it's failing and coming back into a range, and two, it may be a wider channel. So do I want to get into a short here if it's going to bounce and push up into wider channel? Do you know what I mean? So I suppose, I don't know whether it's me getting a bit too paranoid or what, but I always like to sort of keep my options open and just think lower high may be a better option, but especially after we've already had a break and two pushes to another. So technically that channel has played out, so it could reverse. But it could also come straight back down some more. It could go sideways some more and then push down. But if you look at the Penguin trader, channel down, two attempts to push up, strong push below the EMA, he may take that looking to get out at the lows. So I've just got conflicting pictures at the moment. So I don't want to take a short because we've had a break and a new low, but I don't want to take a long because until it gets above here and confirms to me that we are slightly pushing up, you know, I kind of stay out of it. I don't know whether it's me being a bit paranoid or not. I can adjust that a fraction and it would still work. So I think just as you do it more and more, you get used to just being, when you're caught out in certain areas. I mean, you've traded stocks before, haven't you? So although you might be new to this strategy, you know you're not new to price. So Yeah, I just see what I mean. Now that's just pushed up now off of here, and it works okay. So I don't want to treat it as a range that it's likely to come down enough to short it until I give it chance to come in and then push up some more. So can't short it until it retests the wider channel. Yeah, trouble is, while you've got a couple of different possibilities, I mean, obviously, what the most important thing is direction. We want to be trading in the right direction. So this may just be a little pullback from the top of this before it possibly goes higher. But it could also really just be, I mean, if you take that to the left a little bit, it could be the top of a range. So I'm a bit uncertain at the moment. Because although we've hit, the same sort of area, it's kind of usually going to anyway, just for the support and resistance factor. But whether it's going to come back down again, I don't know, to be honest with you. So I tend to avoid everything just until I can get some sort of clarity. I'll set an entry long is setting up nicely. Possibly, yeah. Yeah, there's the sort of first entry, isn't it? It's always best to trap along though. So if you can get a bullish bar, then trigger above it and start to work down. The failure might work for a leg and a leg. But I'm just a bit, I don't know. It's like, I suppose it's like anything after a while. I don't tend to have to count anymore. I can just look at it and I just get a feeling I either like it or something. If I get that feeling that something doesn't feel right, I just completely outright avoid it. Sometimes it'll go on to work anyway, but other times I'll have made the right decision. I mean, even bad setups sometimes can still work. So there's a possible failure there, but look where that's bouncing. We know we've had a break, 2 pushes, 2 no. So this could be an outright reversal now. So if you took that lower high, it's too far for a lower high, but if you took it, trigger just stopped you out. But we've bounced twice now off the bottom of that channel. I can inch it down a fraction and it still fits. So you may have considered that a lower high. I think for me, it's more like a first break of a channel. It's come a bit too far for a lower high. Some people would consider it, but I think Mac would probably say it's gone a bit too far for a lower high. So I would say channel with a break. We haven't made a new low yet. In fact, maybe it's not even a channel. It's just 2 legs down, really, isn't it? A leg, a little bit of sideways and a leg. So, yeah, if you take that failure, see, you could get stitched up. But this is holding at the bottom of this channel for me. So I'm just giving this a bit of space. This trading kind of reminds me of driving. In an odd way, years and years of driving experience, you get to sort of just know what's going to happen. You can look at a car or the way a driver looks at you, whether he's got a vacant expression. You tend to be a lot more aware when you've been driving a long time of what's around you. My wife, sometimes when I'm reversing out, she's going, you're clear, and my eyes are flicking left and right, and I know exactly what's going on around me and where I'm moving to. But because my wife's seeing me head go backwards and forwards, she thinks I'm kind of confused as to where I'm going. But and it's kind of like the same with trade, isn't it? The more you do it, you see all these tiny little, you can drive down a motorway and you're not even thinking about what you're doing, but your hands on the steering wheel and you're making hundreds and hundreds of tiny little micro adjustments just sort of on autopilot. So all these little bars and how they're sort of failing, and that kind of builds up a little picture in your head. And I either get a feeling that I like what I'm seeing or something doesn't feel right. This to me at the moment looks like a channel down and possibly 2 attempts to push higher. So it may not be a bigger channel, it may come down, but I'm aware it could be as well. But this could be trapping traders here. It's just, we could have a leg and a leg. It may come down here or it could take off. So while the direction for me is uncertain, either are we going up in a bigger channel or are we coming down in a range? So that, the way that's bounced there, you've got kind of a sort of a higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low. which is triggered. So this could come down and stop this out. So this looks a bit trappy to me. If you took that short there, triggered you, stop you out. If you took that long there, triggered you, it may stop you out. Although if I can take this down a little bit, that is kind of going a bit congested here. So we've got a drop. We could have another drop, or it could take off. So there's the failure, but it's not a good setup for me. This looks a bit trappy. We've got a leg down and we're making a couple of attempts to get up, and it seems to be struggling to get up. So my gut feeling is this may drop quickly and take out that. Because there's going to be traders taking that bar there for sure there. So my gut feeling is this is going to drop down below that bar and take out that stop. Maybe that one. That is a better bar to take. Well, that is more likely going to trap that because we got two legs down and a higher low. Although it's not confirmed this, but there are traders who are thinking it's going to go up. At the moment, I'm not sure what it's going to do. So I'd like to see that stop get taken out. The second entry long, high or low, whatever you want to call it. If it comes down below there, I'd say it's more likely going to come down again and retest this. So for me, that needs to get stopped out. If it holds, it may continue up. No, it's going to get stopped out for sure. Flick. Yeah. So second entry long. That's what I mean. It's hard to know what's going on here. So that was a possibility. Range is a possibility. So it's also ranging a little there. So we've had this push up. We could have a correction. It could come higher. This channel may end up being wider. It's hard to tell at the moment. So let's put it back to there, which we know we had. So we could still have a couple of legs and then up. It's hard to say. So that bullish bar's triggered. Let's see where this goes. See, I'd like to see something like that. A little failed breakout at the bottom and give us those 2 legs down. Something like that. It's going to come down too far, really. Stop out that. Failed breakout here. Pick up that line. Fit in nice on the top. So I'd like to see those get stopped out. How far this thing will come down, though, if it does, I don't know. Yeah. Does get a bit quiet, doesn't it? I'd have preferred that to drop out the bottom a little bit. Channel down. Could be a couple of pushes up. And then it fails. Hard to say. Okay, this may be the failure. Let's have a look. I'm going to push that back down to where I'd like to see it to come. Taylor says moment is truth. Yeah. I'd like to just see this. Just pop down below here. Just to clear this out. $6 bud. It's only because we've come forward. Clock's come forward an hour, so I just left it at 6 o'clock. Oh no, tell a lie. Sorry, 5:30. 5:30 UK time. So another 45 minutes. So channel down. One push up, second push up. It could still come down. I'd like to have seen it come below there and just clip the bottom of this line here. Channel down. Oh, Taylor's in long here. Right at the top here. I haven't got a bar really. He's got a higher low. I'm still a bit unsure about going long just yet. I'd rather it come. I like the fact that it would fit nice there if we came down a bit more, but looks like it is working. So you can guess there's going to be some stops above that. Yeah, I've got no bar. He's got a good bar on his. He uses a couple of charts. I haven't got a good bar on the other one, to be honest with you. Well, it's a rather large one. It's 14 ticks. He's in on a limit order anyway, so it's a little bit less. So he's out there just before that top of that red bar. Oh, that's scary. Or is he out there or not? Sorry, that's only his runner anyway, so. Or is it? No, tell a lie. No, it's not. He may not be out there. I think his profit was, he's got more of a full bar, but I'd say his profit is somewhere around about there, so he may not be out there. It's found that as support, isn't it? Yeah, it's come down and took his run out. He did get out, he must have done. Often does that, then it comes down, takes out the stop to break even, and then pushes back up again. I've got a failure on my other chart, actually. That's very tempting. 10 ticks.
Order submitted.
Trouble is, there's going to be a lot of stops there. Yeah.
Order cancelled.
No, I just there was a failure there on this other chart. 2 legs back. There's a higher low there and a failure, but it hasn't triggered. This thing's coming back. Trouble is, there's not much room there. We know there's support there, but there's a second entry short there, and this thing's going up. So if it gets above there, it may have a push. If it gets above there, the thing will launch, I think. So it's tempting, that channel with a break, 2 pushes, higher low, failure. Let's get an order ready, see how it works.
Order submitted.
Not a huge risk. It's 10 ticks. If I can get in on the nail and put it a tick below. It has triggered. Okay, excuse me just a second.
Order cancelled.
Sorry about that. No, I just don't like that now. It's going a bit. It's going a little bit sideways on here as well. We could have a couple of legs down. Kind of sort of breakout, pull back. I'd like to sort of trigger a short here. Just not a massive fan. It is a failure, and it has triggered, but just something about it I don't like. Okay, so please I didn't take that one on that chart now. It's looking, I don't really want to go long right that close to support, and we've had another bar there, it's triggered and that thing's coming down, so it's almost definitely, you think how many stops are up here, this thing could launch down. Or we could get a second entry off here on this chart, so it's hard to say really. So please I didn't take that. So are we going to get this slightly wider channel? So second entry long, possibly. I like the way it's come down and taken out all those longs, and now it's triggered that short. Now, this is what I wanted, is to come down a little bit. That fits nice there, so let's have a look. Now we've touched this. Okay, there is a second entry long, but I'm not a fan of the bar. EMA's a bit flat. If this isn't the channel up and we're rangy, so push down, a couple of attempts to go up, lower high, this could come right down. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing does come down. It is struggling to get up. I mean, 1, 2, 3, you could say triple test, lower high. It may work. It may come rocking down. There's going to be some stops around here. But as we've already had this break, 2 pushes to a new low, there's going to be some shorts trapped there. You can guarantee it. So if it can get above here and here, the thing will launch up for another leg. So I'm still thinking long at the moment. But I'm just staying out of things because I could be wrong. But leg down and a bounce. We're struggling to get below there and we're pushing up. So just sit tight here. There is a second entry long, but it never triggered on that bar. Too late now. See if we can get a higher low. if you get above here, you can guarantee there'll be some stops there. Leg, 2 legs back. Once we get above here, I think it's home. Off and onwards and upwards then. So look though, 1, 2, 3, maybe a triple test, failure. Come rocket down, I don't know. That's some pretty strong buy in there. Yeah, someone said if you zoom out, it looks like an inverse head and shoulders. It does. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and that is a bullish pattern. Just can't take that, unfortunately. If that was a bit more bullish above there, then may have been worth a go. But I'd just like a little bit more confirmation we were going up than a second entry long there, because okay, we're up there now. Once we get above here, this thing will go up for another leg, I think. So let's get rid of that now. Okay, I think I'm done, folks. My daughter and her friend around now are going to be getting dressed up, so they're going to be making a noise. Door's going to start getting knocked. Dog's going to start barking. So, although we got a nice downtrend today, there wasn't really a lot of trades, in my opinion. It's just after this channel and a break of 2 pushes, you just don't quite know. It's getting up here, but there's not a lot really. I dare say Mac will find a couple of dozen. You may have had a go at that one, but the bit that makes me, after a small break like that, it makes me nervous about going short there. It doesn't often do that, comes straight down. And that's what made me nervous there. It was kind of 2 legs down, second entry long. You don't know when it's going to push up, trap some shorts, trigger down and push up. So that was the only one that you may have considered. But that one, just purely on a gut feeling, but I can't take it. There's no setup. Look at this. Maybe we get a breakout pullback. Let's just give it a minute. But there again, we are bouncing off this level. We're a bit above it. We need to get above there, really. See, we've had this channel down, little channel with a break and a new low or a temp low, 2 legs up. It still could come down. There's always that possibility. I thought once we got up to here, this thing was going to take off, but but yeah, I'm done for the day anyway. I don't know what's going on here. I don't want to rush it. I got this noise going on in the background with the kids. So I'm going to leave you to it, folks. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. Have a great Halloween. And I'll be back tomorrow, Friday. So have a great evening. Stay safe and we'll catch up again tomorrow. Bye for now.